bandla lelibutha umthelo eveni Eswatini Revenue Service kubathengisela umcondo wekungenela uhlelo lolibitwa ngekuthi yi-Authorized Economic Operator. Kulolu hlelo lolu emabhizinisi yasebenzisana nelibandla lemthelo ekuqinisekiseni ukuthi abhadala umthelo ngekwethembeka. Lokusebenzisana ke naleli bandla lemthelo kubese kusita lamabhizinisi ukuthi athengiselane nalamanye emave ngetindlela letiphephile kulokunye.
Le Authorized Economic Operator yindvo lesebenziswa mabandla labutsa umthelo mhlaba wonke le indvuna etemabhizinisi nekutsengiselana mancoba khumalo ikhutsata emaswati ikungenele.
We are happy that the AEO program shall be implemented under the stewardship of the ENTFC. This makes it possible for the private sector to have inputs towards the formulation of value-adding benefits, which can be incorporated under the AEO. I therefore encourage all who are present today to urge the associations, bodies, federations to which you affiliate to actively participate and contribute to the ENTF discussions.
Libandla lelibutha umthelo lapha eveni Eswatini Revenue Services kanye ne-Southern Africa Customs Union ayalwesekela lolu hlelo.
The genesis of the AEO program is the World Customs Organization revised Kyoto Convention, the safe framework of standards with the 3 pillars that promote and provide guidelines and standards on customs to customs cooperation, customs to business cooperation, and customs to other partner agencies.
This accredited economic operator program is a very, very important program intended to make sure that the processes that you need to deal with, your engagement with the revenue services is a pleasurable one. It's actually a contributor, it's a benefit, it adds value to your business processes.
Inhlangano yemabandla labutsa umthelo emhlabeni i-World Customs Organization nayo ivete kwesekela lolu hlelo yathi lutawenda kutsengiselana emkhatsini wemave kube malula. Ndzabinto Eswatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela ezulwini.
Lo sabambe kuba indvuna yetemcebo waphansi nemandla Jabulani Mabuza sawunikete inkampani yamagesi kuleli insayeya yokuthi ikhulise lizinga lekukhicitwa kwagesi khona lapha eveni kute-ke live lingete uthenga gesi kakhulu kumave abomakhelwane. Indvuna beyikhuluma inhloko-ofisi yale nkampani imbabane nayibeka ngekwemtsetfo lotawuhola libandla lebacondzisi kule nkampani Patrick Miyeni.
So usebenza esikhathi-ke ngicabanga ukuthi lwadi lunengi akuma leadership positions lamanengi nje impela lengicabanga ukuthi leyo experience lanayo utayisebenzisa ke waMiyeni ngokuthi yasichubele lo msebenzi leni usebenza ngekubambisana lokuhle nalokukhulu nange-commitment kutimisela ni-EEC. EEC une strategy lanaso lesezivele siapprove le strategy Miyeni sa 2022-2027 basenda basimikisa nase cabinet sabusiswa so i-organization leseyisebenza with that strategy lesikholelwa ukuthi sitawuphumelela ke nesiphumelelisa kanye kubabambisa nesifuce leso strategy nangikhumbula kahle sibitwa ukuthi ivuthela kusho kona-ke kusi kutawuvutha masinyane sivele sitikhiqidele lo electricity in the country PS.
Umholi lomusha waleli bandla lebacondzisi Patrick Miyeni uthi utawusebenta ngekutimisela.
Kuqiniso ukuthi isikhathi lesimatima lesithinga ukuthi le nkampani le-EEC ibambisane nesive ekutheni sisombululo salenkinga yokuthi kube na gesi lowanele kude ukuthi eMaswati ne-economy eMaswati kubeke idlondlobale kuletikhathi leti.
Miyeni uvala sikhala sadokotela Philip Mnisi lose angumphathi welibhange lelikhulu kuleli. Edindzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Nelson Wendla ngamandla kunambongwa Dube Mbabane.
Libandla letelikhetfo nemincele selicinisekise sive ukuthi ke elikhetfo litaba ngilelo lolukhululekile. Lokutawenta ukuthi bonke bantfu babe yingcenye yalo, lokhu kufaka ekhatsi bantfu labakhubatekile kanye ke nabomake. Ngekusho kwesihlalo waleli bandla uMphane Nkosi Mhlaphihlangene, leli bandla kusebenta kwalo kuhambisana nemigomo lebekwe ngumhlaphihlangene lokwenta ukuthi bonke bantfu babe yingcenye yelikhetfo.
Live leSwatini litabeliya elukhetfweni kulomnyaka umgomo welibandla letelukhetfo nemincele kuqinisekisa ukuthi lonke eliswati alisaleli ngaphandle, lokhu kufaka ekhatsi bomake nebantfu labakhubatekile. Sihlalo waleli bandla letelukhetfo nemincele uMphane Nkosi Mhlaphihlangene sewunikete sive lokugcina ukuthi kude labatawusalela ngephandle.
I-inclusion ayibafake nalaba phila nekukhubateka i-disability and vele ngempela sikufakile lokho ukuthi kunale quota nale focus yokuthi ye-inclusion ukuthi singabakhulumeli singabacabangeli bakhona lesibasonzetile labachamuka kito letinhlangano tutalaba labakhubatekile ukuthi bakwati ukusibonisa ukuthi singaba inclusive kanganani at our best. So fortswa nje ukhona sisebenta naye esikhatsini esinyenti kanjalo phinze futhi nasetigabeni letinye sisata ukuchubeka. So konke lokho ngalokuthi siyati ukuthi labanikati baletinkhetfo mhlaba wonke bayeta babitwa ngema international observers bayeta batosimakela ukuthi lolu khetho lethu vele liyawamitha yini onke lama standards.
Umgomo wakamhlaba uveta ukuthi lukhetho lubhekeke ukuthi libe ngilelo lelikhululekile futhi ke libe sebaleni. Loku ngumgomo kanye walo libandla letelikhetho kuleli. Leli bandla kungumanje selicedzile kufundzisa emiphakathini kanti ke kubhekeke ukuthi kucale kufundzisa ngemisakato. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni nginavuma Inkosi Nzinisa enkhanini.
Bathi inkulungwane letimbili nemakhulu lasihlanu 2500 bomake labesekelwe ngaphansi kwelihlelo lokusita bomake labasetindzaweni letisemakhaya ngelwati lokucala ibhizinisi. Lo msebenzi ke uqhutshwa sikolwa semakhono selive leTaiwan, iTaiwan Technical Mission. Lokho kuvetwe ngomphathi walesikolo Fernando Ye. Lochazile ukuthi labomake basitakele esikhatsini lesichisa sibe nje naminyaka lemithathu kusukela luqalile loluhlelo.
Khuluma ekolishi lemananga ezulwini umphathi walesikolo uthi bahlanganise labomake ngenhloso yokuthola kwekuthi yini inkinga labahlangabetana nato basasebenta kude bate ukhona kuhlangabetana nabo kuletidzingo tabo esigabeni lesitako saloluhlelo.
For capacity building project, within this 2.5 years, they already have about 1,000 or 2,500. After our capacity building, they know how to counting, how to do bookkeeping and so on.
Chichen lohola libandla lelichamuka even le Taiwan lelitekte ubuka kwekuthi loluhlelo luhamba kanjani uthi batawuchubeka babambise leSwatini kwesekela labomake.
I believe with the women like ambitious and full of energy, we can Taiwan mission will always stand with the women, and we hope our new project can support some resources and some capacity building and help them to find the market, to find the right person who will pay the right price for them.
Dineo Malinga lowesekelwe ngaphansi kwaloluhlelo uthi sebakhonile kuthola timakethe.
Sibuka nyalo ukuthi in the future singakhona ku also learn more from the Taiwanese and be able to access international markets. Nasibuka our products nje siyakhona ukuthi nyalo we are able to compete on an international stage regarding our products.
Litiko letemabhizinisi nekuthengiselana like laveta ngaphambilini kwekuthi 65% wabosomabhizinisi labancane kuleli basetindzaweni letisemakhaya kanti liningi labo bomake. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla kunambongwa Dube ezulwini.
Amaphoyisa atabe aganekise kuwo onke emadolobha nemigwaqo elive kuqinisekisa ukuphepha ngesikhathi eliphasika ngekusho kwemchumaniso amaphoyisa anesive ephindile vilakati sive naso sinenzima lesifanele sidlale njengekugwema kushiya emakhaya odvana nangabe baya etinkonzweni vilakati bekakhuluma naketfula umlayeto weliphasika.
Sitawuba khona-ke nathi singemaphoyisa kwenta siciniseko sokuthi sive siyaphepha sisekuleyo ndzawo. Kungaba nje kucela sive ngokuthi siyati ukuthi nasekunebantu labaningi tiba khona tinguquko letitsite njengendlela yekuhamba noma indlela yekupaka. Singacela ukuthi basibeketelele. Nema-roadblocks-ke vele atawube asicitsisa kanalo lonke live laKangwane kuhlola kokuthi bantu benkosi bahamba baphephile yini. Naloko ukuthi phela bukhona beliphoyisa buniketa sibinzi konke umuntu ohambako bese suyakhululeka so utiva uphephile. So sitawuba khona-ke kuto tonke tindzawo kwenta siciniseko sokuthi bantu bayaphepha. Singakhumbuta nje labo labatawuhamba-ke bashiye emakhaya kokuthi asingabashiyi bantfwana phela nebantfu lesingabethembi nebantfu lesite siciniseko sokuthi bangaba nekubaphatha kahle bantfwana. Sibonile kule minye iminyaka bese kuba nabo rape ngenxa yokuthi bantfwana bashiye namalume kumbe uyanatha naye so tihambele sekwenteka lokho. Singawashiyi futhi emakhaya odvana. Nangabe kumbe kunesimo lesenta ukuthi asale odva asimane sikhulumisane nabo makhelwane. Sikhuthazeke kulabo labasemigwaqweni ukuthi akube ngilabo labasesimeni lesikahle. Singashayeli imoto lesinathile nalo hamba ngetinyawo akabe ngumuntu lobonakalako futhi asikukhuthadi lokuhamba ebusuku ngetinyawo. Nangabe ke simo sesiyakuphoceleleka abaningi lotawubonakala futhi ungabi ngumuntu losadlile bese uhamba khona emgwaqweni ngoba lokho kusikhombisile ukuthi kuba netingoti tangaleyo ndlela. Umuntu akasho ukuthi kulonga kucabanga nje kwenta bucala vele banoma ngangilophi ihlobo simxwayise ukuthi singemaphoyisa siqinise kakhulu tinthambeni tethu utawuvele abe nenkinga yekuchubeka nalobo bucala.
Kutemidlalo lobuke temidlalo enhlanganweni ye-Special Olympics Eswatini insethelelo Sikwane uthi le nhlangano seyitawusukumisa leminye imidlalo masinyane lefaka ekhatsi umdlalo webhola i-volleyball kanye naleminye letawusita ukuthi wonke umntfwana atfole ukuthi likhono lakhe likuphi kutemidlalo kwanyalo le nhlangano idlalisa imidlalo yemadubane kuphela.
Ngekusho kwansethelelo Sikwane lubuke lihlangothi lwetemidlalo enhlanganeni ye-Eswatini Special Olympics kulomnyaka losetulu sitawucala tinhlelo letinsha litawubona Special Olympics Eswatini idlalisa imidlalo leyahlukahlukene lefaka ekhatsi umdlalo webhola, volleyball naleminye entini.
Kumcoka because they have a lot of talent. Yinengi le talent labamfana lesiyibonako in the sporting activity kunaseclassini. So ama-sports abasita kakhulu, of which by second term sitobe sine dance competition ne-unified. Unified ito include abo soccer, netball, volleyball and handball. Lesithi ngako improve kuko, we need assistance from the schools mostly. Uma ngabe nje bangasita ukuthi bakhone kuba nale funding.
Kwanyalo lenhlangano idlalisa imidlalo emadubane lapho khona ikhonile kumelela live emidlalweni yangaphandle emidlalweni lehlukahlukene. Lobikela umsakazo Eswatini TV temidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzi umbiko uhlanganiswe nguFabrice Msonera eMbabane.
Ngaleyo ndzaba ke lethi Sporting Olympics to introduce more sporting codes siyatephetsa tindzaba tetfu talomuhla talapha ekhaya sitabahlola imakethe uMasibuya nomphumelelo Dlamini longumchumanisi ke westeshi yeSwatini TV usitshela ukuthi isteshi sitabe sesiphatheleni kuna Good Friday ungayinzawo. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Njengoba-ke besishilo ukuthi umxhumanisi wesiteshi ngomsakazo wetfombe noMphumelelo Dlamini utawusatisa ukuthi isiteshi sesiphatheleni. As we know that we are going for our Easter holidays, Jesus Christ will be resurrecting. Engabe umsakazo wetfombe usiphatheleni. noMphumelelo Dlamini, she's a regular on the show now. Ubuso bakhe sobudayele. Engabe isiteshi se-Eswatini TV sesiphatheleni kunama-holiday.
Singumsakazo wetitfombe Eswatini TV sifise nje kwatisa ababukeli bethu ngekushintshashintsha kwetinhlelo lesivame kuba nato njengoba sonke sathi ukuthi ngaso sikhathi sema-Easters tinhlelo tethu tiyashintshashintsha ikakhulukati ngoba siyaye sibuke ingcikithi yawo lama-holiday lesikuwe lokusho ukuthi tinhlelo tethu lesitawuba nato letahlukahlukene tifaka ekhathi i-Pastor's Easter Special lokulihlelo nje lelakhelwe kubuka kakhulukati i-meaning ne-significance ya Good Friday nema-Easters itawuhlukana kabili njengoba umbukeli kabonile ukuthi nyale kuseni from 6 to 7 kucale yona i-Pastor's Easter Special. That was part 1 lapho khona kubuketwa khona impilo yaJesu kusuka ekutalweni kwakhe imangaliso layenda kuze kuyofika esiphambanweni. Kanti ke futhi itawuphinza iphindwe mbukeli emini itawuphinza futhi iphindwe nakusasa ngemgcibelo kusuka lapho ke mbukeli kuna part 2 wakhe lo tawudlala ngemsombuluko naye lo tawuphinza aphindwe kakhulukati. This program was made lakhaya kubuketa nekuva kuba bafundisi labahlukene ukuthi umkhosi wephasika noma kumbe Good Friday nama-Easters usho ukuthini kithi njengemaKristu. Lokunye mbukeli lokutawuphinze kushintshe ukuthi namuhla emini sitawuphinze sisakade yona inkonzo yesive leba lapha kaSomhlolo. Phinze futhi kube nato tinhlelo lesinato lapha ekhaya letikhicitwe nje specifically for the Easter season. Tinhlelo tethu lesitiba nato lakhaya letifaka ekhathi boyo Eswatini lifestyle asambeke bobuhle bethu tonke this time around takhelwe nje ukuthi ti-Easter themed sakhele bona babukeli. Sekungaba ukukhuthata nje bona babukeli ukuthi noma ngabe kumbe kude labangakwenda bachubeke bahlanganyele nathi singumsakazo yeSwatini TV kunengi lesibalethela kona this Easter season. Sekungaba ukukhuthata nje bona babukeli bayo Eswatini TV ukuthi lo ngaphumeleli kumbe kuya enkonzweni ngayo so siphela isikhathi sephasika akahlanganyele nathi njengoba tonke tinhlelo lesitabe stiletha incumbi yato kutawube kuthi inkonzo dayo iphasika. Ngifuna nje ukukhuthata ukuthi nangabe khona kumbe lo ngaphumeleli nokuthi aphumela enkonzweni elangeni lanamuhla ngaleso sizathu fulanaso akahlanganyele nathi ngato tikhathi tasemini masiletha yona inkonzo yesive letabe banjwe lapha Somhlolo kuvuseteleka khona emoyeni ukuthi sikhumbutane ukuthi lona mkhosi wephasika usho ukuthini kithi njengamaKristu. Ngifiseka kufisela bona babukeli bawo umsakazo weSwatini TV i-weekend lephephile ikakhulukati njengoba sonke siyadika ukuthi nakuphithitela la migwaqweni tingoti tiba tinyendi. On behalf of Eswatini TV, allow me to wish you a happy and safe Easter weekend.
Sema kakhulu kunoMphumelelo Dlamini umxhumanisi ke wesiteshi yeSwatini TV lo siphe nje sithombe sokuthi eSwatini TV itaba i-broadcaster ihlelo letifana natiphi kunama-holiday nawo lesiya kuwo. Sibahlo lethi market uma sibuya sithatha indzaba letichamuka ngephandle kwalapha eveni.
Your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Good morning once again. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a look at leading stories making headlines in other countries. We start in Brazil. The former Brazil's president, Jair Bolsonaro, has denied misconduct while being questioned by police over allegations he tried to illegally import millions of dollars worth of jewelry gifted by Saudi Arabia. The allegations are something of legal and political headache for the ex-president.
Less than a week after returning to his home country from the United States, Jair Bolsonaro has found himself in hot water. The former president spent 3 hours at federal police headquarters in Brasilia, leaving without making a statement to the press. Bolsonaro was undergoing questioning over suspected illegal importation of pricey gifts. The items in question: a necklace, a ring, a watch, and a pair of earrings, reportedly worth up to €3 million. The jewellery was allegedly given to Jair Bolsonaro's wife by the Saudi royal family. The scandal erupted in March after it was discovered that the items had been confiscated from a government aid at Sao Paulo International Airport 18 months previously. The aid had attempted to smuggle them into the country without declaration. It later emerged that Bolsonaro had been ordered to return 2 separate sets of gifts by a government watchdog. The 68-year-old denies any wrongdoing, but if he were to be convicted, he could face jail time. The case has added to the legal jeopardy already surrounding the former president. He is also under investigation over claims that he incited a riot by his supporters, who invaded the presidential palace following his election loss, as well as 3 other Supreme Court investigations for alleged crimes during his presidential term.
In China, officials have called Tsai Ing-wen's U.S. visit a provocative act, but whether Beijing will respond with military drills remains to be seen.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy led more than a dozen members of Congress to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in California, which honors the 40th president, for a meeting with Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen. At the gathering, McCarthy promised to work with Taiwan for economic freedom, democracy, stability, and peace in Asia.
Today was a bipartisan meeting, Republicans and Democrats united together in a place that symbolizes the freedom and the commitment and the bond that's only become stronger with the president with us today.
Supporters of Taiwan had crowded inside the lobby of Tsai's hotel, and supporters of mainland China gathered outside. The visit was unofficial, described as a transit stop after the Taiwan leader's visit to Central America. China analyst Patricia Kim of the Brookings Institution says the trip is a response to increased Chinese aggression on many fronts.
Not just the military domain, but also the economic and diplomatic domains. There has been greater pressure and desire on the part of U.S. leaders to do more to counter China's aggression in the Taiwan Strait and to increase support for Taiwan.
Tsai was heartened by the meeting.
Their presence and unwavering support reassure the people of Taiwan that we are not isolated.
Chinese officials call Tsai's visit a provocative act. China criticized last year's visit to Taiwan by Nancy Pelosi, the former Democratic Speaker of the House. In apparent response, China conducted military drills off Taiwan's coast.
It seems that expectations are that Beijing's response this time around may not be as extreme as last summer, when it engaged in unprecedented live fire drills around the island after Speaker Pelosi's visit. So it remains to be seen how extreme its reaction will be this time. And I think it could depend in part on how the California meeting is portrayed in the media.
Kim says Beijing may also moderate its response because European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, French President Emmanuel Macron, and former Taiwan President Ma Ying-jeou are all now visiting China, which seeks to present itself as a moderating force. While McCarthy and other U.S. lawmakers are reassuring Taiwan that it has friends in Washington.
Activists among the 200 million Ukrainians now living in Poland have proven to be an effective force in pressing for world action against Russia.
After a full day of official meetings, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky came to the royal castle in the center of Warsaw. Here he addressed Ukrainian refugees and volunteers. The invited guests included activists from one of the Poland's most popular Ukrainian citizens groups, known as the Euromaidan Warsaw.
All 130 people were invited. These are our most active volunteers.
Euromaidan Warsaw has existed in Poland since 2013. But when the full-scale Russian invasion started, they began volunteering on a daily basis. Since the start of Russia's full-scale assault, the Citizens Initiative has taken about 200 actions to support Ukraine. For example, on the anniversary of the invasion, they woke up Russian diplomats in Warsaw with the sounds of sirens.
We gave the Russian diplomats a sense of what it's like for Ukrainians to wake up daily. People are sitting in the trenches, sitting in basements, and afraid every second that a shell could hit their house.
The activists also blocked Russian trucks on the Polish-Belarusian border. Afterwards, the European Union banned Russian and Belarusian road transport operators from working in the EU.
And I can say this is our most expensive event because it stopped the flow of billions into the Russian economy.
Since that March, the number of volunteers has grown to more than 1,000. Yulia Yarmalovich coordinates the diverse group.
Every day, I coordinate about 200 volunteers. It is online and offline. Online are social networks and information headquarters. And offline, it's when you need to go to an event.
The group also demonstrated during President Joe Biden's trip to Warsaw in February.
We constantly stood outside the hotel, appealing to him for further support for Ukraine and the transfer of F-16 fighter jets.
The organization also regularly shows gestures of gratitude to Poland, the country that has admitted the largest number of Ukrainian refugees, and organizers say they are grateful for Zelensky's response to the war.
For the fact that he did not give up and continues not to give up, I would like to thank him very sincerely. I see for myself how difficult it is, and it's not that it's expensive, it's priceless.
In April, volunteers are organizing what they call the Be Brave Like Ukraine Cultural and Economic Forum in Warsaw. The goal is to raise money for Ukrainian hospitals.
Let's look at Africa. Somaliland is a self-declared state in practice, even though technically it's still seen as being part of Somalia. This lack of diplomatic recognition makes it difficult to keep development plans on track. The country's GDP is estimated to be about 3.5 billion euros for around 5 million inhabitants, an extremely small sum. Through Hajisa insists it's politically stable compared to its Somali and Ethiopian neighbors. Attracting international investment is still difficult.
The port of Berbera is being modernized. The Emirati company DP World has invested more than 400 million euros in it. The gateway to Somaliland can now receive around 500,000 containers per year.
Since we are expanded, we received a bigger vessels, which is carrying 10,000 containers, and that's called direct call from China, from India, so we can supply other regions' ports from here.
The facilities currently serve Ethiopia and compete with the port of Djibouti. Somaliland's pushing to further develop its infrastructure. The capital is also growing rapidly. Buildings and hotels are multiplying, and the diaspora is driving many of the projects.
I'll show you one of our rooms. Come.
After 20 years in England, Mustafa returned to invest in his country. Luxurious rooms, restaurants. He spent almost 7 million euros to create this place.
If you invest in Somaliland, the rate of return is very high. At the moment, the stability and the economy of this country is growing.
At least 40% of the population benefits from remittances from the diaspora. The Minister of Finance admits that they have an important economic impact. He believes recognition of the country is key to its successful development. Although Somaliland is a sovereign state in practice, it is still technically considered to be part of Somalia.
Now we want to build a port or an airport
or a road, which requires maybe 100 million US dollars, normally a recognized country would go to the World Bank or to one of the international financial institutions and borrow money. We can't.
Somaliland needs this international support. If assessed as an independent nation, its GDP per capita is around 700 euros, making it the poorest country in the world.
Tunisians use it for everything, as a stimulant, to enhance the taste of coffee, to treat sick children, or to perfume their homes. Orange blossom water is considered to be the country's white gold, and its harvesting began.
In Tunisia, it's orange blossom season. The precious flower, or white gold, is a source of national pride. Ever since retiring a few years ago, Samia Marzoug has kept herself busy every spring by harvesting the flowers in front of her house. She then distills them to make her very own orange blossom water.
I pick up the orange blossoms. Every year I pick about 16 kilos, which produces about 16 litres of floral water. It's for me and my children. We use it in the kitchen, we cook with it. We repeat the tradition every year.
It's a ritual that Khania Mansour, a professional orange blossom distiller, has mastered. She uses an artisanal distillation technique that was passed down by her mother and grandmother. The flower petals are boiled in these copper pots. The steam is then captured and condensed by using cold water, which produces the floral magic.
I've stuck to our family's traditional method because our materials are among the best in the world. Copper is the best for retaining the heat, and the clay pots are the best for keeping the water cold. The materials we use are 100% natural.
Tunisia's orange blossom is renowned around the world. It's used in cosmetics, baking, and even traditional medicine.
We have come to the end of our international news. We go for a net break. When we return, Sidlala Kamnanzi with Fabrice Msonera. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Our local in-house journalist and analyst, Fabrice Msonera, is with us now. Fabrice, how are you?
It's a beautiful morning once again, as we sent to the viewers. It's a holiday, it's a Good Friday, but in the business of sports, there's nothing like that. It's on and everything is taking place this weekend.
And in the business of broadcast, it's not a holiday. I'm here sitting with you.
Yeah, we woke up at
Is that a good thing or that sucks?
You get used to it. It's the profession, you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
As we talk about things that we get used to, I'm not sure if I'm getting used to the local games these days. It's beautiful to see Green Mamba just being consistent, but talk to me about the games locally.
The level of competition, if you look at, maybe we'll look at the fixture this coming weekend, but especially tomorrow on Saturday. But you look at the level of competition, that's where then you ask your question, then when these teams and players, when they get to the national team, what's the problem? Because now we have a race of 3 teams that have got biggest chance to lift this year's trophy. In the previous years, remaining 5 to 6 games. Right now we remained with only 6 games. In the previous years, by the time we have 10 games, you already knew who's the winner. Just look at what we're expecting this weekend. I think for me, if you go towards the bottom of the screen, that's the big game. On Saturday, it's Green Mamba against Bafana Swallows. It's number 1 and number 3. It's a tough game for Green Mamba. They have to extend their lead. For Bafana Swallows, they have to keep their hopes to say we are still in the race. So it's a beautiful game. And then also look at another upset, maybe. Another upset. I wouldn't really call it an upset because they were talking about number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 1 is Green Mamba, number 2 is Young Buffaloes, and number 3 it's Mbabane Swallows. Look at the third line, where there is Manzini Wanderers against Young Buffaloes. I wouldn't really call it a big game, but it's a big game on paper because we know Manzini Wanderers is one of the followed clubs in the country. So going to Young Buffaloes, you expect that Young Buffaloes, they're in form these days. For Wanderers, Nyanga is back at the helm of things. So you'd expect that maybe they could try to upset them.
Is that game really worthy of analysis, Fabrice? Let's be honest. Isn't that an automatic win for Young Buffalo?
It could be an automatic win, but it could also another turning point for Wanderers. Who knows? But it will create that attention. If you look at the venue, Prince of Wales or the Manzini Wanderers will just drive up to Mbabane, which is another thing that actually I've been questioning, to say, why would you take a game of Manzini Wanderers with, let's say, like Mbabane, they are based, the fans are based in Manzini, if they are hosting? So it's a question. But
Fabrice, how do you feel? Sorry to cut you there. How do you feel about Manzini Wanderers acquiring a new coach and actually getting a win?
It's what they needed, motivation. Remember that before they win, they had a meeting with some of the legends of the club. So it's the motivation, they needed that.
Is there a competitive advantage going into this game?
They are probably slightly, it's important. They are slightly motivated, the players. Nyanga has been exposed to such situations. He knows how to handle the situations of this matter. I think for me, anything that Wanderers can come out with here, which is the best, results, it could be a draw for them. Okay. Otherwise, game of the weekend, drive to Galanga on Saturday. It's number 1 against number 3, Green Mamba. We're talking about NS Mavuso, the good job he's doing with Green Mamba. And then also you've got Kalim Gwenya. Kalim Gwenya has been at some point the coach of Green Mamba, so you have to understand the ins and outs. Maybe just touching on Mbabane Highlanders also on Saturday, and Endeavour Sanders. It's another game. They need 3 points, maybe also Mbabane Highlanders, to try and keep up the pace with the number 3 and number 2 who are above them.
Yeah, as they give us this graphic of the log standings, I want your quick prediction between Green Mamba and Swallows.
I think anything to do with the draw is still an advantage of Green Mamba, but I'm seeing them nailing this one.
You see Green Mamba win?
Yeah, 2-1. And then Young Buffaloes could slash Wanderers 4-0. It's possible. Then Devon Sundowns, Mbabane Highlanders could end in a draw. I'm worried about the relegation battle because I'm looking at Manzini Wanderers number 12, so they need 3 points, but with the remaining 6 games, anything is possible.
Yeah. Let's talk about Young Buffaloes. Isn't Young Buffaloes, who is Young Buffaloes rooting for to win this game?
Okay, look, here's the situation we have. Maybe just to explain the viewer that the 3 teams, remember there are only 6 games left. That's 18 points. So number 2 is behind 5 points to number 1. So there is a hope that if maybe Mbabane Swallows can greet Mamba, and then Young Buffaloes beat Manzini Wanderers, they can get 47 points. And they are yet to play together. They have a game to play, Young Buffaloes and Green Mamba.
A game of hopes is dangerous, like you said the other day, Fabrice, because if Young Buffaloes roots for Swallows to win, but they lose.
Do
you see that Swallows is going to have, what, 41 plus 3? They're going to have 44 points.
Yes, 44 points.
And they're going to be equal.
Yeah, but the issue here in the Premier League, we don't look at goal difference. They have a rule of what we call head-to-head. So if Mbabane Swallows are 44 points, remember Young Buffaloes are playing Manzini Wanderers. Let's say they don't beat Manzini Wanderers, which is unlikely to happen.
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. Then they remain to 44 points. So we look at head-to-head between Young Buffaloes and Mbabane Swallows.
Who has the advantage there?
Who has the advantage? The 2 games have been a draw. Away, first leg was not. This past weekend was 1-1. But now what we look is that when they scored, who was away?
Really? It gets that dynamic.
So if no matter what we say, we look at head-to-head. When we say head-to-head, we say how we played when we met. So if we realize that I beat you, then I'm ahead of you. But the 2 games away and home, they drew.
Isn't it going to be alphabetical order?
No, it's not. In a draw where there were goals, it's this past weekend. It's 1-1.
Yeah.
Who was visiting? It's Mbabane Swallows.
I'm not sure if that's fair, but
that's
anyway,
that's the rules and regulations.
Yeah.
So it's the team that is really going to enjoy this weekend. It's Young Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Because they beat Manzini Wanderers 90%. They beat Manzini Wanderers. They get 47 points. And then they sit and they wait what happens between Green Mamba and Mbabane Swallows. And then the next weekend, the weekend of the 15th, it's Young Buffaloes against Green Mamba. So if they're 47 and Mbabane Swallows beat Green Mamba, so they go to that game on the 15th. To beat Green Mamba, and they're number 1.
Let me tell you my prediction.
Yeah.
I'm predicting Young Buffaloes 47 points by the end of this week, and Green Mamba,
they will share the sports.
52 points.
52 points.
52 points. That's
Can't
my
wait.
prediction. Just looking at how they've been playing. Let's be
Yeah.
Let's talk about South Africa. You know, it's exciting as well. Last week we saw Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs with compelling performances. Yeah, what is up for this coming weekend?
I think now it's all about fights for the CAF position.
Yeah.
Because Mamelodi Sundowns are already champions. Yeah, they are the champions already, so there's nothing much you can say. So I think it's all about who gets the number 2 and number 3 for CAF positions. But some of the tough matches, I think for Marume Gallants against Kaizer Chiefs down there towards the bottom of the screen. But maybe to start in the order, you can start with SuperSport United against TX Galaxy. I'm fencing SuperSport to win that game. Richards Bay and Golden Arrows. It's a derby from Durban, so you can talk about how Richards Bay, the incoming of the DStv Premiership against Golden Arrows, have been there for quite some time. They know what it takes. Chippa United hosting Orlando Pirates. Skukune United against Maritzburg United. So I think for me the biggest game of the weekend, the 2-3 games of the weekend, is between Richards Bay and Golden Arrows. They want to still finishes in the top 8. So it's a big one. And then you've got also Kaizer Chiefs and Marume Gallants, because Kaizer Chiefs also, they want to finish in that CAF position where they can qualify for CAF Champions League of CAF Confederation next season. So if you look at the table, as we'll be getting it shortly, the champions already have been declared for the 6th season in a row, which is something I would say, you know, that something needs to be done in South African football, because if one team can win the league for the longest time, then it changes everything. It also applies in Germany and in the likes of Italy, where things have changed now. Look at number 2, 10 to 20 points behind. So for SuperSport United, they also need 3 points. But look at Kaizer Chiefs, number 4, they are 40. So those 3 teams, they have to work their magic this coming weekend to ensure that they get the position. Look at Golden Arrows, like I said, number 10. They want to finish in the top 8. Richards Bay, they want to maintain the top 6. Remember the top 8 next season. So that game is going to be really difficult, because if number 10 Golden Arrows wins, there will be 32 points, and Richards Bay, where they are number 6 with only 31 points. So it's a tough game, a beautiful derby in KZN.
I don't know how you're missing this very interesting thing here. Number 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah,
they've all played 24 matches. And
they're 40
so
points.
no one has an advantage, but they're all playing, and they're on 40 points.
Yeah.
Who do you see coming up at the top here? Who do you see losing? I'm looking at the way they've been playing. You look at Kaizer Chiefs. 4 wins, 4 straight wins, and then that loss.
In South Africa, it's quite different with us, because we only send 2. For them, they send 3. So the number 2 and number 3 have a chance to go. Kaizer Chiefs, I'm looking at the performance this season. Inconsistent has been a problem.
But they won last weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, the inconsistent I'm talking about, because then you look at the previous weekend. Yes, there was a knockout tournament and everything, but I'm talking about the consistency. I think Pirates is more consistent these days than them. And SuperSport United also have got,
Fabrice, let's be honest.
So I'm fencing Pirates.
The winning form is right here. Let's look at the form.
Yeah.
You are saying Kaizer Chiefs is inconsistent.
Yeah.
I'm looking at those W's there. It's 4 in a row and then 1 L. For me, that is consistency. I don't know your definition of consistency.
Here's the problem I'm having, because they started the season. Some of the teams, I'll give you an example with SuperSport United and the Pirates. They started the season not really well.
Yeah,
but towards now, the dying moments of the season, they are picking up wins almost every game. So when I'm worried about the inconsistency, it's also something that rises from the fans to say, whenever you go to watch Chiefs, you don't know what to expect on the day. So yes, there is in terms of
wins. Don't you think with the previous 5 games, at least they know what to expect? Let's use a yardstick that is relative. We've seen 5 games.
Yes.
They've lost 1, they won 4 in a row. Your other teams there, look at them.
Look at also, I'm happy that you're looking at the wins only. Also look at the losers. Look at how SuperSport is doing. only 6 defeats compared to Pirates and Chiefs. Like I'm saying, these two have to work hard.
I was just looking at the most recent games. If we're talking the last 5 games and we're going to quantify using consistency, Kaizer Chiefs is the most consistent there.
Compared to who?
Compared to the other teams, they won
but they're number 4
straight.
They're
4 straight.
4.
They won 4 straight.
They're number 4.
Yeah, but they have the same points. They have the same equal points.
But if you are to give someone a position now in the CAF Champions League,
I'm done with this debate, Fabrice. It's going to be an interesting.
Don't be emotional.
No, I'm not emotional. I'm an Orlando Pirates fan, by the way. So look at me right there. I even have a green arrow up there. But anyway, let's talk about England. I I'm interested to talk about Manchester United. I have a colleague who gets poked a lot in the newsroom. Temingosi Mavimbela, viewers should know him. He reports the news. He gets poked a lot because he's a Manchester United fan. I want us to talk about Manchester because they lost that game against Newcastle. And then they won a game on Wednesday. Marcus Rashford scoring on the 27th minute.
Yeah, against Brentford.
Yeah. They're going to play again this Saturday.
Yeah. You look at their game against Everton. Everton, they're not really in a perfect form this season. Yes, it's the Premier League. Anything can change. So I'm facing them to get 3 points. But if you look at the other team that they are competing in that position, it's Newcastle. They're visiting Brentford, the Bees, this weekend. So I'm also facing Newcastle United to get 3 points. So things might not really change from how they're standing right now.
Yeah.
Then you have to look at Spurs. In some of the games, you look at also how they'll be performing. But for me, you look at a team like Chelsea. They're visiting Wolves. Chelsea, by the way, yesterday on Thursday, there was confirmation that interim coach now has been reintroduced. Frank Lampard is back as the interim coach for the remainder of the season. Remember, Frank Lampard is a former club player. He coached them a couple of years ago.
And did terribly.
Yeah. So it's funny how things change. So he's back now. Yesterday he was announced as the interim coach until the remainder of the season. So for me, I'm fencing Man United to get that 3 points, but you have to look at what will happen on Sunday, because
I think that's the biggest day.
Liverpool and Arsenal. And then I think if you look at Arsenal performance at Anfield for the past 5 or 4 years, including also the presence of Marco Arteta, it hasn't been really a good performance. But for a lot of Liverpool supporters, they're actually scared because they're not in the perfect form of the season. Then you have to face the Arsenal that is in the best form, the return of some of the key players, including Gabriel Jesus. So and now there's also the issue of to say who starts between Saka and Trossard and Martinelli. It's going to be a beautiful game. But remember, Liverpool is also trying to chase Champions League position, which I think it's far-fetched for me. I think for me they should just maintain Europa League for next season, where I think teams like Newcastle United, Tottenham, Brighton, and Newcastle and Spurs, all the teams have got the best chance. Spurs against Brighton, it's a tough game. It's number, if I'm not mistaken, number 5 against number 6. You see how tough it is.
Yeah,
it's a tough game. So
look at fighting
Liverpool
for the same spot.
Yeah, look at Liverpool. They have to overtake Aston Villa. They have to overtake Brighton, Spurs, and then you get to that position, Man United. City. Look how comfortable Newcastle is, and they have a game in hand. Still, Manchester United have a game in hand. Let me change this statement. I've never changed a statement. I said last week, Newcastle doesn't really stand a good chance, but I think for me, they have got equal chances.
I told you about Saint Maximin and Issa.
This is for the sake of the viewers, so not for you.
But
just to confirm that those 3 teams, number 3, number 4, and number 5, I can guarantee them one of them is going to finish number 4. Then you can talk about Europa League, where there's number 6, number 7, and number 8. Brentford, don't count them out. Chelsea could change things. They're 11, but they could try and drop around 8th position.
Yeah, it's looking bad for Chelsea. I'm interested to talk more about Arsenal versus Liverpool. I think Liverpool going into this game, the only hope for them is that they're playing at home. Other than that, it's shambles.
Another thing, I was actually watching a documentary and an interview actually of former Arsenal striker Ian Wright saying it's funny on how when you look at the records of the English Premier League, no team has ever played in 29 games of the season, leading more than 5 points, and failed to win the league. It was only Newcastle in 1996. So the rest, since 1996, anyone who's played 29 games of the league and you're leading above 5 points, you've gone in to win the league. So I'm not trying to say Arsenal supporters should already confirm that they're the champions, but they're in a perfect seat. They're in a driving seat to claim this title, and I think they have what it takes. But against Liverpool, I'm expecting a very tough game. Liverpool will come. They'll bring everything they have. They will be at home. One of the toughest venue to visit as any club. So, it's going to be tough. But I'm facing Arsenal 2-1.
Okay. Here's an interesting thing. We've never seen this. I don't know if we've ever seen this. Look at number 12 up to number 20. Points difference. Any of these teams can get relegated. Only 8 games remaining now.
It is possible.
Leicester City on there, sitting pretty. They've once, been the champions.
Yeah.
What are your comments there?
And then you look at teams like West Ham. I mean, West Ham last year was playing Champions League.
Yeah.
So things change. But I'm looking at the teams that you just highlighted. Interesting conversation from number 12 to number 20. The only safe teams, due to the experience of the coaches, due to the experience of the clubs and the coaches and the players, Everton will be safe, West Ham will be safe, and Crystal Palace will be safe. Because if you look at
your
Crystal
prediction?
Palace, it is a Crystal Palace, the return of Roy Hodgson as one of the veteran English Premier League coach, he has that experience. Then you look at David Moyes at West Ham.
Everton
Yes.
is playing Manchester United.
Yes, but
on a game that you predicted Everton will lose, right?
But I'm
if
talking about the
Everton loses and the other teams win,
yes, I'm talking about the remaining games of the season, because we're talking about now 9 games left
8
in the season. Actually, it's 9 because it has to be 38 games. Each team plays 19
okay, after
games.
these games, it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bournemouth, they are not really safe. Leicester City, it's a tricky one. I don't see them really. Things are not doing. They are not doing well. I don't think it was even a good idea to fire, coach Brendan Rodgers. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So for me, West Ham, Crystal Palace, they are safe. And Wolves, I forgot Wolves, and then Everton, they are safe from this repeat. The rest, it's at anyone's risk. Nottingham Forest, they are new. Anything can happen.
We've had debates in the newsroom, me, you, and our producer, Mangaliso, that the English Premier League is the most competitive football league in the world. I think me and you share that same sentiment.
It is, yeah.
Mangaliso doesn't believe that. We look at this log standings. Teams that have won the league are at the bottom. I think it validates me and you's point that it is very competitive. You have to stay on top of your game.
Okay, I'll give you my reasons of why I think it's the most competitive league. Someone will say, why look at which team in Europe with the most UEFA Champions League?
Yeah.
You'll go to Madrid. Which team with the most whatever, you go to Madrid. But the other interesting facts that people don't know. If you go to Spain, the only teams that have got European titles, it's only Barcelona, it's Real Madrid, it's Sevilla, and Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
But if you go to England, Manchester United has won the Champions League. Chelsea has won the Champions League. Liverpool has won the Champions League. Aston Villa has won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday has won the
The
Champions
English
League.
Premier League is the
Nottingham
most
Forest has
competitive
a
league.
trophy.
Yeah, and this
So
is what we want to see, Fabrice,
Yes.
South Africa when they out. The other teams should pull up their socks. Fabrice, we've come to the end of our show. Once again, give you the honors. Close the show.
Beautiful stuff. It's been always great to be here on Kusile Breakfast Show. And just know that in as much as it's an Easter weekend, activities do carry on this weekend. Premier League activities from Saturday tomorrow. And you and I just meet on Monday, Easter Monday, when once again we wrap up what has happened. To Sfiso, myself, the entire crew, the producer, and everyone here at Eswatini TV. Have a beautiful weekend.
Let's live it up and party and have cracking good fun. When it comes to edutainment, DSTV's #1.
Is everybody ready to go?
We've got the zaniest characters to transport you away. The party is cracking, so why not come play? You're gonna love it. We've got so many channels and a ton of new shows, like Disney and Nickelodeon, where anything goes. So live it up with DSTV. We bring the fun. You know we're #1.